Finance Committee meeting to order. The first item we have is assignment for request for council action. For the Finance Committee, we have 2263 budget amendments, 2264 accept a donation of 2017 Ford Explorer, Muni Court, 2265 Ohio Law Enforcement Body Armor Program, Municipal Court, 2266 amendment to contract Pioneer Technology, Municipal Court, 2267 maintenance contract with Lake Business Products, Municipal Court, 2268 ODOT cooperative purchase sodium chloride rock salt, 2269 dispatch services agreement Medina Township Police, 2270 dispatch services agreement Medina Hospital LLC, 2271 dispatch services agreement Mountville Township Police, 2272 install flashing yellow solar road signs Sugar House 57 Lexington Ridge, 2273 accept donation Rademacher family, 2274 bids job number 1130 2022 concrete street repair, 2275 bids job number 1131 2022 concrete pavement joint sealing, and 2276 bids for job number 1132 2022 pavement marking program. Next item was 2263 budget amendment. We have a 22010 CIT training for the police. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a grant that Alternative Paths gives us for our CIT liaison officer. It's just a reimbursement for that, $750 for this appropriations adjustment. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2264, accept donation of 2017 Explorer for the Muni Court. Cindy?
Thank you, Mr. President. Sheriff Grice has donated to the Muni Court a 2017 Ford Explorer that is out of commission. We're just asking the board, the city council, to go ahead and authorize that. It was already donated through the county commissioners, and we've already submitted to Sherry and Kathy the title to get it going. It's for our probation department to help the Veterans Court.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2265, Ohio Law Enforcement Body Armor Program for the Muni Court. Cindy?
This is just a grant that we would like to go ahead and request and get approval for. We need to have 5 new bailiffs, so we need 5 new body armors for them.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2266, amend license agreement Muni Court Benchmark Software. Cindy?
So this would be an amended to the current benchmark contract. What we're looking to do is add a texting app to what we currently have. This app would go ahead and we could notify defendants and attorneys of court cases, fines due, bench trials, jury trials. The cost of it is $10,500 initially, and then it's about $254 annually a year. We're hoping that this will reduce postage. Studies show that with texting, it also increases volume at the court to where everyone is showing up for their court cases instead of they didn't get it in the mail or didn't receive it through their email.
And it's subject to Mr. Huber's approval? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Rose?
Thank you. Cindy, the system will log all the text messages that are sent out and retain them?
Yes.
For records and things like that?
Yes, it'll automatically be docketed directly into each case.
Okay.
And then we're also it's in the local rules right now, we're also going to have them, if there's a defendant or attorney that wants to opt out, they can just sign a clause and we can opt them out.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Move to approve, subject to law director's approval.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2267, maintenance agreement with Lake Business Products for the Muni Court. Cindy?
This is one to change out the clerk's fax machine, copy machine that is due to be past its maintenance agreement. And we're also going to put another one in the clerk's office. I'm looking to go to centralized printing to where we can remove the desktop printers from everyone to reduce cost. Have the clerks go to centralized printing. And this is just an agreement between Lake Business Products and the City of Medina pending law director's approval.
Okay, Mr. Huber, you're going to be busy. Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Subject to the law director's
Subject to
approval.
law director's approval.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2268 ODOT Cooperative Purchase Agreement for sodium chloride or rock salt. Nino?
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is the contract that Mr. Rose was asking about the last council meeting when we did our material bids request. We just received this correspondence on March 16th, and the turnaround time is April 29th to have the actual ordinance to participate, the resolution sent to ODOT, so we're asking for the emergency clause, and this is for the 22-23 winter season rock salt.
Well, thank you. And how was winter today? I didn't know we were supposed to have snow.
We were surprised this morning.
You lost your weather forecaster's job.
We did, I did.
All right, we're just checking in on that. Any other questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2269 Dispatch Services Agreement with Medina Township for the police. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is our communications dispatching contract with Medina Township Police Department, requesting the emergency clause because the prior contract expired December 31st of last year.
Does the law director have to review this?
He has already reviewed it and has approved it.
All right, okay. Any other questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2270 Dispatch Services Agreement for Medina Hospital LST. Chief?
This is the same thing. It's the contract for dispatching services through Medina Hospital for LST EMS services. And again, the emergency clause is requested because that contract expired December 31st, 2021.
Great. Any questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2271 Dispatch Services Agreement with Montville Township Police. Chief?
This is our dispatch contract with Montville Township Police Department. The emergency clause is requested because the prior contract expired December 31st of 2021.
Any questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2272 Install flashing yellow solar road signs at Sugar House 57 and Lexington Ridge. Ms. Hare? This came out of your committee, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This came about specific to RCA 21-188 from 9/27, and it is in regards to what residents consider a dangerous intersection at 57 Sugar House Lane and Lexington Ridge. And we had a meeting, a Streets and Sidewalks meeting on March 16th, and we had a nice group of people here, many residents from the area, and we had a healthy discussion about what we could do to make that intersection a little bit safer. And there were a lot of concerns about the dangerous intersection because it's at the top of a hill and you can't see coming from either the north or the south or the east and the west. And what was nice about the discussion was that there were comments on both sides of the issue, actually, and some, in all honesty, that I hadn't even thought about. But at the end of this, we came to there was a fair consensus that maybe what we should do, which would be relatively inexpensive and could be done relatively quickly with the approval of ODOT, is to put flashing yellow signs before the intersections on 57, one north, one south. And I thought maybe making it a solar sign so we could use the power of the sun to illuminate the sign would bring attention to drivers that are driving on 57 and hopefully make it a bit safer. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess the question would be, Patrick or Nino, do you have any idea of how to obtain these signs and what the cost of it would be? Or can we look into that?
We can, just for comparison, we did the signs around the square, the pedestrian, which are also solar powered, and those, I believe, were about $10,000 or $11,000 each. Now, these would be different, and they don't need to have push button active, they would just constantly flash, so it might be a little cheaper, but somewhere in that neighborhood.
Who could find that answer out for us?
I can find that for you.
All right, because I think before we vote on anything, we got to figure out what the cost is going to
Sure.
be on those. And then I guess the other question is, we would be able to just install them by putting in a concrete piler, I guess, and put it on top of it? Okay. So if we can have some information on it, I think the next meeting, if we can get the cost, then we could probably, and the timing of getting it, I guess, is another question. How long would it take if we order it to get them in? I don't know what the lead time was on the ones on the square, but I thought there was a long time.
It was, those were back before everything else. Those were like 8 or 10 weeks, you know.
Were they? Okay. So if, at the next finance meeting, if you can have that information, we'll keep this on the finance agenda for next time to revisit it, to see if we have that information so we can discuss and approve it or do, and then figure out where the money's gonna come from.
And, you know, I think we talked about this several years ago on streets and sidewalks. Excuse me. And I know the crosswalk lights that are activated by push button are solar operated. But if I remember correctly, they said that I don't know if it was you, Patrick, or you got the answer from ODOT, that solar lights for flashing that would be flashing constantly, solar may not be appropriate. I mean, it may not, I don't know if that's changed.
Yeah, I'm anticipating, these would be LED, which requires significantly less power. So I guess I'll verify that before the next meeting, but I think
Okay,
it'll be
and I
fine.
just, like I said, I just remember when we discussed that, before, that was one of the concerns, and the cost obviously would have been the huge amount of cost of running the power to those. But yeah, if the technology's changed and the LEDs, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess the question is, this, thinking about this, we have to think about where the money would come from, right? I mean, I guess, I know Patrick has a lot of extra money, maybe, I don't know, he'd want to throw this in, but, we have to figure out exactly, if it's going to be $20,000, let's say there's, had to be some designation from some fund. And I know Ward 3 doesn't have any more monies available, I believe, as a development deposit. I think Ward 1 was the only one that had money available for that.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore, right? So I guess we'll have to think about that. The only options I could see would be something like the general purpose capital account would be one of them, or just general administration, some line item out of that. But, I mean, I don't know if there's any other thing that we could look at. I believe there's probably no grants available for something like this because it's just a general traffic safety item.
Yeah, I'm not aware. I know I did speak to, since the meeting, I did speak to ODOT to kind of let them know which direction we're heading, and they said two things. First of all, they will not object to us. Remember, they control the intersections, their jurisdiction. They will not, they'll allow us to do it. That'll be fine. They're not going to pay for any of it, so it'll be all on us.
Right, okay. All right. So let's think about exactly, where we want to get the money from and, make sure that we're able to do that within the budgetary process. Okay, any other questions? So we'll hold that till next meeting, but it seems like everybody's in favor of, moving, as long as it doesn't come back 100,000 apiece or something like that. That's right. That'll be kind of cost prohibitive. Okay, 2273, accepting Rad Cycle donation from Radmacher family. Who's this going to be? Anybody know anything about this?
Keith?
Mr. President, I received a letter from Roger Smalley, who is the chairman of the Medina City Archive Commission. The Pete Rademacher family offered to donate the Radacycle to the city, and in order to properly insure it, normally we would pass an ordinance accepting the donation, and so that's what this ordinance does. It also provides for return of the Radacycle to the family if they decide they want to do that.
Explain the Radacycle. Is that the one wheel?
That's
my
a unicycle.
Used to be in every parade.
Yeah, the one wheel, the one big wheel.
Oh, okay.
Right, that's my understanding.
The 6-foot wheel that you drive inside of it?
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right.
What is the purpose of this donation?
It was a part of quite a long number of parades. I think Pete Rademacher used to actually operate it. And it basically is a part of the history of what that's taken place in the family. It's an unusual type of cycle, and they wanted to donate it to the city.
Good.
And
Any other,
Why am I
any
so
other
loud?
questions?
I was going to say, I know at the Archives Committee, we talked about we would display it at the museum, hopefully be able to use it in the parades. And I thought that Roger had some conversations with maybe a couple people from the fire department who might be interested in learning how to.
I think our fire chief is going to learn how to.
He didn't say which fire personnel, but
John wasn't going to do it? You weren't going to do it?
No, no, no.
Same size as Pete, so he can.
No, he had those metal shoes on or whatever he wore, I remember, that's.
Man,
looked
I'm
a
like
little
having a
dangerous.
hard time finding it on the
Yeah, that
Google.
would be a little dangerous. But okay, no, that's good. Yeah, that's it, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can't see it.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
old.
That's it, yep.
Just
All right, any other
hold that
questions?
thought.
I do have a question, Mr.
Yes, Paul?
President. And I don't know, Greg, I don't know if this would be appropriate for you, but it says here that, you know, we, the city, would have to do some maintenance on it to bring it up to snuff. If the family wants it back, would we be made whole, or how would that work? You know, if it's a couple $100, I don't know that we would complain, but if we have to put several thousand into it, just wondering if the city would be reimbursed that funds, if it would revert to the family?
I'm not aware that we are being asked to do any maintenance on this thing. I don't see that in the ordinance.
I thought I read here where they,
It's just going to become a part of the city's vehicle fleet for
Okay.
insurance purposes. We can return it if the majority of the family members request it. And the first part says they're donating it.
right, but it
So I'm
says
not-
here, the museum, it's donating it to the museum in hopes that it can be restored, displayed, and returned to use, which, when I read that on a mechanical device, that says there's an expenditure of funds.
Where are you reading that?
And Dear Greg,
Oh, that's in the letter.
right, in the letter.
We didn't agree to that.
Oh, you didn't agree to that?
It's
Okay,
not in our ordinance.
okay,
Trust me, I'm a lawyer.
all right.
Okay, any other questions?
move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2274, job 1130, 2022 concrete street repair. Mr. Patton?
Thank you. This is our annual program to repair and replace various slab sections and all across the city. This year, we're requesting $600,000 for that program. Just to note, that is a little more than we've spent in the past couple of years, that we were at $500,000. We'd like to increase it based on the increased cost of materials. I think we're going to need to get the extra $100,000 just to be able to match what we've done the last few years.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2275, job 1131, 2022 concrete pavement joint ceiling. Pat?
Thank you. This is again an annual maintenance program we do. This is crack sealing. I always use the comparison, it's like changing oil in your car. It's just something we need to do to extend the life of these pavements.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2276, job number 1132, 2022 pavement marking program. Pat?
This is what, street department used to do this, and I think 2 or 3 years ago, Nino, we took it over, and it's exactly what it says, installing center lines, edge lines, stop bars, all the pavement markings around town.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything else that anybody wishes to bring before finance this evening? Mr. Lamb?
I have a question again about, I think, Patrick, this is for you, I suppose. Question about the reseeding of the fiber optic cable. Have you taken a look at the reseeding that was done a couple weeks ago?
I have not personally. I know they haven't started their final landscaping yet.
So the seeding that was done, I think it was a week and a half ago, I think, when they drove by in a truck and they threw dirt on top of the hard packed dirt that they left and threw seeds on and then drove away. And then it rained and all of everything washed away again. Is there another one coming?
They'll have to, if that's what happened, yeah, they'll have to do it again.
Okay, so in all the areas that they did all that, the city is guaranteeing that they're going to come back and actually landscape that like it would be landscaped as it was prior to the work that they did?
We are, 100%.
Okay, and who will check on that? Because it
That's our
wasn't checked
department.
on a couple weeks ago. And if you look at it now after it snowed and the snow melted, all the dark brown dirt that they threw on from the truck and threw the seed on top, if that's the way they're going to do the next seeding, I don't know what you call that, but that clearly is not putting that area back the way it was prior to the work.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
We will guarantee that it gets done. They are required to. It's part of their permit. I don't know,
So why don't we just pull they have a bond, right?
I don't know that they have a bond.
They have
a permit and they're licensed to work in the city. We can
Okay.
pull that, but we do
It's-
have to give them a chance to do this. We haven't really had the weather conducive to doing any kind of
Okay, but they
landscaping
did
yet.
they did it when the weather was conducive,
Okay.
and no one checked on that.
No, we just don't have the forces to follow them around. We kind of,
Okay, so who's going to check on it then if in fact they actually do it, which to tell you the truth, I'm not doubting you, but I doubt very much considering the way the work has been handled so far. I doubt that anything close to the way it should be done, or anybody that would actually hire a landscaper to do the work would have it's not being done. And all the detritus and stuff that they clipped off, those things are still laying around all over where they worked. And in some areas of town today, they were stringing out that cable and laying it again in people's driveways, so people had to try to drive over that cable again to get in their driveway.
what was the question there?
I'm not sure can you work on private property?
No. They
Okay, so
don't have
how
any-
does the cable then get into somebody's driveway, not on the sidewalk, but in someone's
There
driveway?
are certain neighborhoods in town where there's an easement, 10, 12-foot easement for utilities, which this is considered a utility. That's not everywhere, but there are certain neighborhoods where that easement does exist and where, electric, cable, gas are now. They are allowed to occupy that. Outside of that, they don't have any right to be on any kind of private
So
property.
what neighborhoods are those?
They're basically the ones that have been done since maybe 1990. They started adding those to
Where would that be?
the newer neighborhoods, I'd say.
Patriots Way, probably.
Yeah.
Where I live.
Do we do we have a map that shows what these neighborhoods are,
Absolutely,
where
yeah.
this is?
We do.
Okay, so the neighborhoods I'm talking about do not necessarily have that right away. Utility seems to be an interesting word. I'm sure there's a professional definition for what a utility is.
Right.
But you can't just go, as an individual, I can't just go on somebody's property and do whatever I choose to do. Correct? That is correct. But in this case, they have driven equipment on people's property, they have broken things on people's property, they have left trash on people's property, they have dug up on people's property, they have left dirt all over sidewalks so people can't walk on their sidewalk, and they have laid those cables in people's property that they have to drive over them on their driveway. And then the poor excuse for reseeding, which is what they were doing when the weather was nice before it snowed. That is not reseeding. I don't know what the criteria, we must have a criteria. What does that mean if you have to put something back the way it was because you did this work and you messed it up?
Correct.
Is there a criteria for that? Does the
not more
grass
than
actually
that.
have to grow?
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
And if it doesn't grow, then what?
Then they have to come back and do it again.
That grass would never grow. I mean, I looked at it in like 6 different areas of town. That grass would never grow. And most of the grass seed's all gone anyway because it washed away as soon as it rained.
So now that we know what to look for so that we can improve it.
I'm not sure if this helps, but this Thursday, we have a meeting with all the utilities that you're referencing, the fiber companies, the representatives, the liaisons for the city that we will be conveying that message to, as well as the gas company and other utilities that have been affected in trying to corral this issue of being on private property and not following up with what they're supposed to be doing. So we're going to head that off Thursday at, I believe at 9 a.m. You're welcome to come. I mean, maybe it'd be good if you came, if you have the opportunity.
I don't know how we get contractors working in the city that they're allowed to work in the city and their work is so poor. And it isn't really, and there is no way apparently to watch that work. I mean, the flags that they put up, which I'm presuming were to mark gas lines and water lines, correct?
Correct.
Those flags are still all over neighborhoods where the work has already been done. Does anybody come back to get those flags that are in people's yards, on people's sidewalks and laying in the street?
A contractor should pull those when they're done in that area. I mean, to Pat's point, we're running thin. They'll call in 200 tickets a day. That means they'll call in 200 addresses that need spotted with respect to utilities, water and storm sewer. We don't have the folks to go out and follow these guys around. Unfortunately, we hear about it from the homeowners, but we are going to meet them this Thursday, and we're going to make it clear by no uncertain terms that the work performance, if that's what you want to call it, is not going to continue.
So there's no bond, and they didn't have to put up any kind of bond with the city before they get a permit?
No, they're just required to be registered. They have to be registered with the city, which means we get their insurance. It's actually through the billing department. I'm not sure what else the process is, but I know insurance is part of it.
So what's the recourse then if you get this all done, weather's great, they've done another crappy job, what is the city's recourse at that point then if there's no bond?
And stop issuing them permits, and we can prohibit the contractor from working in the city ultimately.
Just so we get Mr. Huber involved.
So I guess my question is, why haven't we done, if the work has been, the sloppy work has been done now, and it's been consistently sloppy, why haven't we pulled the permit now?
I can't answer that. I don't know that we've really given them a chance to address these issues. We're just getting through winter now.
They started before, though. They started before winter. You know, the weather was pretty good. Then they worked in the winter, in the snow, and now they seeded before the snow again. I mean, I'm not sure if you add all this up, how that adds up to being a five-star company or five-star companies doing work that would be acceptable to anybody that was paying the bill.
I don't disagree with you. Well, like Nino said, we're trying to follow up on it. You know, we're going to have 3 different cable or companies installing fiber this summer. In addition to Medina Fiber, Armstrong is, and we just found out Frontier is. It's going to be hard to keep up with all of them. We can barely keep up with the ones that are going in now, but we'll do our best.
By the way, Bill, this is a direct result of our wonderful state legislators who passed law that basically took away most of our ability to police this. They have allowed the companies to put this cable in our right-of-way and taken away a lot of our ability to control what's going on in our right-of-way.
But you can control when people have, when companies put their equipment on people's private property, put the people on private property, put their equipment on private property, put the cable that they're installing on private property, drape the cable over people's driveway so it hooks onto their wheels when they pull into their driveway, block their driveway. I don't think it's legal, I guess, if I took a wheelbarrow full of dirt and dumped it on the sidewalk and spread it around, I'm not sure that I wouldn't be violating some kind of law.
Well, let's pull all our permits and let's see what happens. We'll do it that way.
Thank you.
That'll get their attention. But I guess the sunny side of all this would be that we have multiple options finally in the city of Medina for cable, because it's all going to be 3 fiber companies, so there's hopefully will be competition.
Think of that, John. We could watch wonderful Oscar shows like last night.
Well, I think that was on regular TV, though. I don't think we need cable for that. But anyways, I mean, at least one of the concerns, if we can figure a way to get through this and solve all these issues, I think the residents at the end of the day are going to have a lot more options and hopefully lower prices because of the competition that'll be generated with 3 providers at each home. So each homeowner will have 3 options to pick from, and hopefully they'll, you know, that competition will lower the prices because Armstrong right now has a monopoly.
You know, I absolutely disagree with the premise of everything you just said. You're telling me that because you can't You're telling me because the end product is okay, doing garbage work is worth it? I mean, you can't get good work and the product at the end of the day? I find that hard to believe. I can't
I
believe
find
you
it
even
really hard
said
to
that.
believe, too. That's not anything like I said, so.
You just did. You said that
I am confident that
No.
Nino and Patrick
No.
will address this on Thursday
You
morning.
just said there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, there
because
is light at the end of the
If we get
tunnel,
this in,
right.
you'll have 3 options and the
Right.
price might be cheaper.
I-
Why can't you have 3 options and the price cheaper and have the work done the way it should be done?
That's what I'm hoping to be done. I'm just telling you, at the end of the day, you're going to have 3 options. During this interim, we have to solve the problem over with these providers. I don't think I said anywhere in my statements that it's okay to put dirt on the sidewalk or lay lines in the, did I say that? Anybody hear me say that? Did I say that? No, I don't think I said that. So hopefully, we can solve the problem at this meeting and get the different crews. I know there's different crews, and some crews are better than other crews, but there's some crews that are just not doing a good job at all. So, Nino?
Then, I don't want to belabor this conversation. Pat will tell you, we were with them in the beginning. They were using tarps. When they first came into the city, they were tarping everything, taking the sod out, putting it on tarps. Whatever they excavated, they were putting on tarps. And then it sounds like they started to get pushed by whoever the owners are and trying to get more footage, and they got away from that. And then we got into winter. But we'll get them back to that. And our goal Thursday is to pin down all these things, because we can't let it continue. That's our goal.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else to come for council? Okay, meeting is adjourned.